What's up, a Cinema Shogun here, and I think we all already know that the situation out in East Palestine is a complete mess. But the problem is, this mess is starting to spread. It's starting to spread all over the place. We got grocery stores pulling water bottles off the shelves because some of these water bottles that you buy at the grocery store, some of them are sourced from water supplies that are right there outside of East Palestine, Ohio. Also, we have thousands and thousands and thousands, millions of gallons of toxic waste floating around this country right now from East Palestine, trying to find a destination, as well as thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pounds of solid toxic waste, like toxic soil, dirt, you name it, traveling around this country on big trucks looking for a place to be dumped. Now, they found some areas that they were taking some of this stuff, and some of those areas caught on, and they realized, hey, we don't want this stuff here. We don't want this toxic waste near us. So what happened? They halted the cleanup process. These trucks traveled in circles around the USA trying to figure out where to go, where to be stored. And you know, it's not like these chemicals are thrown on these trucks and they travel all the way to their destination. No, there's stops along the way. I'm sure the drivers have to sleep at some point. So it's just all of this toxic nastiness traveling all over the place. What it looks like, they found a new destination for some of this stuff. Make no mistake about it. I know a lot of communities were in an uproar about the toxic waste coming to their town. And, you know, a lot of them were reassured, hey, we're going to do something about this. Meanwhile, guess what? The toxic waste is still coming to your town. They're just lying to you about it. Well, now it's been found out that some of this stuff is headed to Indiana. And honestly, I think some of the stuff is already in Indiana. And people are outraged. People are scared. Rightfully so. And I think this East Palestine situation, it's woken a lot of people up. It definitely opened my eyes to just how much of these toxic chemicals are around us on a day-to-day basis, traveling up and down our roads, traveling on our railways, and being stored. Literally toxic waste pumped into the ground in our communities, right outside of our suburbs and our cities. It's almost like they're just waiting for a catastrophe to happen. But I want to go ahead and hop into this article because the people of Indiana are upset. Attendees of a town hall at the Russellville Community Center in Indiana had plenty of questions and grievances to share with local elected officials and waste management companies, or waste management company Heritage Environmental. Toxic waste from the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, has already arrived in Indiana. A landfill in Rochdale started receiving truckloads of contaminated soil this week. Despite assurances from officials that the site owned by waste management company Heritage Environmental is equipped to handle the waste, residents say that they're worried. Dakota Carlton gathered with hundreds of others outside the Russellville Community Center Wednesday to make sure his concerns were heard during a town hall about the contaminated waste. He cares for his grandfather and two nieces and is worried about the potential impact on their health. I'm concerned that if it gets under the ground, it's going to affect our tap water, Carlton said. And then we're going to end up looking just like East Palestine. The news came out Tuesday that the waste was coming to Rochdale. Residents at Wednesday's town hall felt blindsided One woman asked Heritage Environmental Chief Operating Officer Eric Chris when trucks would begin to arrive. They were accepted today and they were already dumped today, he responded. The crowd then erupted. Heritage Environmental revealed at the meeting that 3 trucks had already been dumped earlier that day. Heritage Environmental received approval from the EPA less than 24 hours prior. Executive Vice President Ali Alivi said, "We bid on the work with a number of other companies and happened to win one of the bids," he said. The crowd began to boo. Things got heated as residents demanded answers about the toxic shipments. Some audience members walked toward the speakers and returned to their seats. Others paced around. Nearly a dozen police officers were dispatched just to watch the crowd. Heritage Environmental says it expects to receive 2,000 tons of polluted soil. That's about 100 truckloads, making the 400-mile journey from East Palestine to Rochdale, Indiana. According to Heritage Solutions, independent lab testing shows the waste contains low concentrations of vinyl chloride and butyl acrylate, within the typical range for the landfill. Still, some feel the company put profit over safety. Why didn't you give us the respect to see how we felt before you took this big deal? Tipton County resident Maria Worth asked. I just wanted to know why you didn't care to at least see how it would be received by the community. The landfill is above the Tipton Till aquifer system. Resident Laura Scott, who attended the meeting, said she wants answers about Heritage Environmental's long-term safety plans, but wasn't prepared for the antagonism from the crowd. I don't think that some of the questions were answered completely because of the acoustics in the gym and the hostility that was present directed towards the Heritage Environmental staff. No one from the EPA or the State Department of Environmental Management was at the meeting, but the former director of the EPA's Region 5 Superfund program, William Muno, said in an interview that what's happening in the landfill is safe and ordinary. So it's a large landfill. It would have been routinely monitored by the state of Indiana, IDEM in particular. I don't think there should be any concern. The site is EPA licensed and hasn't had issues with groundwater contamination. But it did receive a violation in 2019 for not analyzing inbound waste. Heritage Environmental said the landfill has 2 layers of PVC lining to prevent leaks and test for runoff daily. Any breach would have to be reported immediately to the EPA, but Scott worries what will happen long after the site is closed. Your hazardous waste landfill is not a 41-year project, she told Heritage Environmental. It will involve future generations who will live in Putnam County for hundreds of years to come. And I am so glad she said that. Because what we have here is we have these agencies that are deciding, are these landfills, these environmental waste places, they're deciding, hey, yeah, come on, bring it onto our facility, bring it onto our facility. But they're not really thinking in the long term. In the long term, is this facility even going to be there anymore? Is Heritage Environmental going to last for as long as these chemicals last within the soil? That's one thing that really needs to be talked about here. Because you see, let me change that. I don't like what happened in East Palestine. But I love how when stories like East Palestine come out, they shed the light on all type of things that a lot of us wouldn't usually know about. How many of you all knew that a lot of these environmental waste areas, how many of you all knew that they bid? They're bidding for the right to store this waste. It's like they're on eBay. Hey, me, pick me. Pick me. Send the environmental waste here. Please, all of your toxic dirt and water, please send it to my place so I can make money off of it. That's what's happening here, folks. So when you hear, oh God, East Palestine toxins are coming to my town, understand that someone in your town, most likely, the people, the heads of these waste areas, a lot of them are bidding. Yeah, please, come on, send it here, send it here. Mind you, I'm sure most of those people don't actually live in those areas. But that's how a lot of this stuff happens. Really think about that. Wrap your mind around that. Does that not seem sick and twisted in itself? Now, I know some of you all will be like, yeah, I already knew that. And that's cool, that's fine. A lot of people don't know stuff like that. So when situations like East Palestine, they happen, it sheds a light on so much other stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So yeah, behind the scenes, we have a bunch of filthy, scummy, evil people bidding on the right to store toxic waste in your community. That's what's happening behind the scenes. And that's what's happening now in Indiana. They're not even trying to hide it. They came right out and said it. And now Indiana will be the new home of truckloads, tons and tons and tons of toxic waste from East Palestine. Let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.